What's up, and welcome back to the 16th Kind of Funny Pixar in Review. As always, I'm Tim Geddes, joined by the producer/seducer Nick Scarpino.
I hang out with my family this weekend, and I was like, oh, I got to go home a little early because I got to watch The Good Dinosaur. And everyone was like, oh, that's a good one. What are you doing it for? I said, oh, we're ranking them on in review right now. And I proceeded to read them the rankings, and it almost started a fight. They were like, what? What did you put? I was like, we're gonna step away.
Were they mad about Wally? Were they mad about Wally?
They were mad about all sorts of things. Someone didn't hear the fact that I stopped at Toy Story 1. I was like, because I was like, how many Legos am I gonna read? I'm at a freaking barbecue right now, and they were like, wait, where's Toy Story 4? Where's Toy Story? I was like, it's there. You didn't let me finish the list.
They're all there. They're all there. That voice that you heard is the big dog, Kevin Koala.
There's a lot of buttons on YouTube's back end. You know what I mean? Like, where's the button for deleting the thing that we need? It's easy.
Leave a thing.
And of course, it is Christmas in July, almost August. Joey Noel.
Almost August. Hello.
Hello. And we are joined by the voice of Andy Cortez. Andy, how you doing?
Hello. If I cut out, I might leave and try to come back because Discord is still very choppy. You all sound like robots quite a bit.
Quite a bit. Well, Andy will be with us in spirit no matter what happens. But hopefully this all works out because this is Kind of Funny's In Review, where each and every week we rank and review 2 different film franchises. Right now, we're trying to catch up on Pixar. So we're doing a lot of Pixar back to back to back. But next week, it's already happening. We're returning to DCEU with James Gunn's The Suicide Squad.
Oh, that's exciting. Very
exciting stuff. But for now, we're in Pixar land. You can get this show on youtube.com/kindoffunny or roosterteeth.com. If you want to get it as a podcast, just search your favorite podcast service for Kind of Funny in Review, and we'll be right there for you. If you want to get the show ad-free, that means you won't have to hear about our ads later for MeUndies, Canva, and Upstart. You can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny, just like our Patreon producer Molecule has done. Thank you so very, very much, Molecule. You can also write your reviews in haiku form, one of my favorite bits of this show. But today we are talking about The Good Dinosaur. With a runtime of 1 hour and 37 minutes, it was released on November 25th, 2015, making it the 16th Pixar movie. This film marked the first time Pixar has ever released 2 films in 1 year, following the release of Inside Out that just came out June 19th. So mere months before this. It was directed by Peter Sohn, a Korean-American animator, director, voice actor, and storyboard artist at Pixar Animation Studios. Sohn started his career with Pixar in the art and story departments for Finding Nemo. He later went on to work on Incredibles, Ratatouille, and WALL-E, kind of became a beloved member of the Pixar family. So much so that he voiced Emil in Ratatouille.
There it is. Yep.
He voiced Scott Squishy Squibbles in Monsters University. And he voiced Forrest Woodbush,
best character
in the Good Dinosaur. Forrest Woodbush, of course, the big Stegosaurus
pet collector.
Right?
That thing is great
with all the animals on.
Yeah,
it.
That thing is, by the way, the funniest part of this whole movie.
Come on, Tim.
There we go. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, there's an official name for it that started with an S, and I was like, I don't know what the hell this is. Yeah, it's a
Styracosaurus.
Yeah, cool.
Which I've never heard of.
Looks like a Triceratops, kind of.
Yeah, but it's Triceratops, Tim. 3 horns.
3.
Triceratops.
Yeah.
Triceratops.
A Triceratops.
Barbra Streisand.
What the fuck just happened?
It's dry amount of horns, you know what I mean?
Strive from the Latin word meaning a lot.
Got it. There we go. Sohn co-directed the English language version of Ponyo on the Cliff by the Sea, which we watched recently in our Miyazaki in review that we did. And then he was set to voice Genki in Into the Spider-Verse, the roommate of Miles, but all of the lines for that character ended up getting scratched because they thought it'd be funnier if he was just mute. And it worked to good effect. But most importantly, for facts about this man, Russell, the boy from Up, was based on the director Peter.
Oh, wow.
Wait, can you imagine being hired for a role and then them being like, hey, you know what? We thought it'd be funny if the voice that you were gonna play doesn't say anything. That sucks.
It's really fucked up.
I'd be to be positive, I'd be like, that could work. Or you could just let me my movie a couple times. Yeah, what the fuck?
So in terms of the director and the release date and all that stuff, we actually have a pretty lengthy little fact here to give some background on this movie. The Good Dinosaur came out in 2015, experienced multiple production issues. The film was in production for 6 years, and it suffered from creative differences, story problems, Pixar multitasking between film productions, and a quality slump the studio was suffering from Cars 2 to Monsters University. I don't know if we all agree with that, but whatever. Director Bob Peterson was removed from the project in the summer of 2013, just under a year before the film's original release date of May 2014. Peterson moved on to another project, while John Lasseter, Lee Unkrich, and Mark Andrews and Peter Sohn stepped in to temporarily work on various sections of the film. In November 2013, due to further delays, Pixar laid off 67 employees of its 1,200-person workforce following the closure of its satellite studio in Canada a month before, when about 80 employees had been laid off, officially to refocus Pixar's efforts at its main headquarters. From Pixar, it was a dramatic event, said Jim Morris, the studio's general manager. It was tough on the company. Most studios would have said, the movie's fine, it's not bad. And it wasn't bad. It just wasn't great. We wanted to have a great movie. On October 21st, 2014, Peter Sohn was officially named the new director. The story was then reworked. Some major changes, including lowering the age of the protagonist and adding the concept of nature itself being the main antagonist. While John Lithgow still remained cast as Papa in the film, he would later be replaced. He acknowledged the fantastic change in the script and said that the film's going to be better than I imagined. So originally I was reading about this even deeper, which you can go check out if you want. The Wikipedia explains a lot. But the cast was like entirely different for this movie. Like the story was like so different, where everyone was kind of aged up a little bit, and there was a lot more dynamics of like interpersonal things going on, and then they ended up just like really stripping it down to what we ended up getting. Music was done by Michael and Jeff Dana. They won the Golden Globe and Oscar for Best Original Score for Life of Pi. This is the first Pixar movie they have done music for. Then they both eventually do the score for Onward as well in the future.
Michael, Jeff, and Dana Giacchino?
No, unfortunately.
It's not 3
Also,
Giacchino?
Very clear. It's very clear. The Giacchino had nothing to do with the score on this one.
Yeah.
At all, unfortunately. It had a budget of $200 million, and it grossed $332 million, making it Pixar's first box office bomb. It was not awarded or nominated for any Academy Awards, but it does pass the Bechdel test. So there we go. Nick Scarpino, I want to start with you. What did you think about the Good Dinosaur?
When I mentioned that we were watching this, people were like, oof, I think we all last week were like, we just got to get through this one. And I'll be honest with you, I was entertained. It's a weird movie, and everything you just said about all the production problems they had definitely come out in it. It feels very disjointed and almost like it's a bunch of movies turned into one, but it had some really good heartfelt moments and some comedic beats that are so twistedly weird that I couldn't help but laugh out loud. The part where he's like, and this is Debbie. I gotta be honest with you, I rolled it back. I was like, it doesn't get any funnier than that. That whole sequence was perfect. I watched it twice because I was like, I gotta write this down. These guys have to understand that this is what comedy is all about. If I hit that ever in my life, I'm just gonna drop the mic and walk away. But and it's short, so that there is that for it too. And I was entertained, but I definitely don't think it's not the Pixar magic, because it's just very weirdly disjointed. And there's one of those things where you're like, a whole world full of cars, how's this gonna work? And they somehow make it work. In this one, they were like, dinosaurs are the humans and humans are the dogs. And you're like, I don't know about that. That didn't quite work out. That didn't quite gel like I think you wanted it to, Pixar. But I think it was time well spent still. I didn't dislike the movie.
Joey Noel.
This one felt the most like a generic kids movie out of anything we've ever watched, where it's like, there's like not a lot of Pixar magic to this. I do think it's interesting that they like kind of touch on and play with like showing what like trauma and processing with like him seeing his dad die in a different way than I think we've seen in a lot of other Disney/Pixar movies. So I did kind of find that to be interesting, but for me, it was like a fairly forgettable animated movie. I didn't like. It's weird because like even this voice cast is like pretty impressive with like Sam Elliott and Anna Paquin and like all of these people. I'm like, oh, I never would have really guessed that any of these people were in that, because I feel like a lot of these roles weren't really like fleshed out a whole lot. So I wasn't like particularly emotionally invested in this movie. But I did really like all of the little like when he like would go into the field with the fireflies and they would like all light up.
That was cool.
That was like
Yeah, that was
my
good
one
moment.
favorite part of this entire movie, or the couple times that happened. But other than that, I think it's like fairly meh and forgettable.
Yeah.
Evan Koala.
I think this movie sucks. I think that a lot of it is really pretty, but then for whatever reason, the dinosaur design is really ugly, and that like takes me away from like enjoying the aesthetics.
That's funny. If I may, there's a moment where you see
You
the
may
trees
not.
in the
I'm not
environment, and then the dinosaur walks through, and I was like, why does that dinosaur look like it doesn't belong in this environment? It looks like the two styles are completely different from the character designs to the environments.
Even Spot, like,
It looks like it's from a different movie. It
Yeah,
looks like it's from
totally
that
different
fucking
movie,
Caveman
yeah.
Trolls movie or whatever it was, that dream.
yes, Croods.
Croods, thank you.
And it's disjointing
Not
and it's
invoke
weird.
their name.
You've
Sorry,
never
is that-
seen
is
the
that
Croods.
sacrilege?
Come on. No, Croods is great. Let's see Tim's reaction. Anyways, but yeah, just overall, like the comedy didn't hit. The one thing that did hit, and it hit hard, was the pterodactyls. What the fuck?
That
Like,
shit
what a
was a turn,
hard
dude.
turn
That was a
there. I
turn.
did not enjoy the T-Rex stuff at all. Overall, I remember watching this movie and being like, wow, Pixar just doesn't have it anymore. Maybe this is why Disney's trying to kill them. And then they brought it back later.
Yeah,
They brought it
figured
back
out.
later. Yeah.
I'm with
But,
you though. Like the T-Rex stuff felt like, again, it felt like it was a totally different movie. Like I
Mhm.
like this, but it kind of doesn't feel like it fits in this so much. It was more like
Yeah.
kind of a, I don't know, a great voice cast for that,
But
by the way. I mean, Sam
I-
Elliott fucking crushes.
I feel like my biggest issue with this movie is that like the world does not seem fleshed out. Like we have their farm and they're just farming corn, which all right,
Weird.
that's weird. But also there's like a bunch of trees around. Can't they eat the trees? These are herbivores, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
they don't really
and those
farm.
are what are they called? Like year-long trees? You know, like
I think that is their official title, actually.
year-long trees.
no, like
Yeah.
you know, like the snow is not going to fuck them up. They're not going to lose their leaves. They still have
Right.
pines. Anyways, so it just the whole science of the world just doesn't fit in my mind. None of it seems thought out. It was interesting they showed the like the asteroid mixing. I feel like I'm curious to see where this falls in the Pixar theory. But yeah, that's my
Andy
views.
Cortez.
You kidding me? These dinosaurs know agriculture. This is amazing. I am so.
Andy, just like these animals have been evolving for 65 million years.
Makes
And
me really
they're-
sad that
the smartest
that
move they
meteor
can
hit.
do is shove their fucking face in the thing and then drag it against. Why not use your foot? Like, wouldn't your foot be a much simpler solution? Or your giant fucking tail? This movie's stupid.
Kevin, they learned all of agriculture, and I really wish the meteor didn't hit because this is what it could have been. We could have been living amongst them.
No.
This movie,
No.
for all of the shit talking that everybody's had about this movie, that it's disjointed, that it doesn't feel like Pixar, you all are mostly right, okay? You all are mostly
You are
correct. But I am so glad that I had this movie just totally down in the dumps for me before I even started it. And much like Nick, I was entertained. I don't think this movie is anything special by any means. I don't think it does anything. It tries to do the Mufasa Simba moment, and it just didn't feel earned at all. I just did not care like I should have. They steal the Pachycephalosaurus scene with where they're hiding behind the rock and they're running, jumping over. They travel in herds. Like, you can't be blatantly ripping off Jurassic Park without any of the magic. However, at the very, very end, Spot and his family, I'm feeling all that. I feel those emotional moments. I think those moments hit for me. I really enjoyed Spot as the character. I agree with both Kevin and Nick, and I was going to bring this up as well, that I fucking hate the art choices in this movie. It really... You cannot render environments this hyper real and have these doofy fucking looking characters running around in them. It looks like the backgrounds
stupid.
look so real that it just looks like you took shots of nature and you are superimposing these doofy ass fucking weird brontosaurus looking character in it. When there's the sequence at the end where they are running, when they finally realize, oh shit, the mountain's there, let's go run home. And it shows a lot of sweeping shots of Spot and Arlo running like kind of like helicopter style Peter Jackson style shots. And it looks so fucking stupid, dude. You need to like the characters are on a scale from 0 out of 10, like 0 being 0 being stylized and 10 being hyper real. The characters are at a 0. They look like a fucking child's drawing, and they look so cartoony. And the environments are the most realistic thing I've ever seen in my life. We need to somehow meet a little bit in the middle. Let's
some parody,
like in the way that we see like. How Fortnite's characters look very, very stylized, and so do the environments. Let's get the environments looking a little bit more artsy, because it just feels really out of whack when you have when there's a crazy river rapid scene that looks so real, like you had a camera filming a torrential sort of river scene, and then a doofy ass fucking green face pops out of it, and it looks so bad. We need to no longer do this, and I hope they stop doing this sort of shit. But I don't think the movie was as bad as everybody sort of made it out to be, and I think a lot of that is just lowered expectations, and the fact that this movie is a decent movie from any of the other animation studios that we would have seen. I don't think it's a great Pixar movie, but if I were to...
This blew Madagascar away.
Yeah, sure. Like, I think if I were to see this along with any of those sort of DreamWorks movies,
you don't know what you're talking about, Nick.
Blue Sky Studio movies, I think it's
Ice Age. Fuck you.
I think it's on par with those movies. I just don't think it's a good Pixar movie.
Ice Age is way more fun than this.
Shit.
Way better. You're talking so much shit. This movie is
you got to get the people interested.
Very similar to Ice Age.
No, I'm teasing.
It doesn't have the funny squirrel that's trying to protect his acorn, which I thought would be.
Joey, the funniest thing about Ice Age is John Leguizamo. All right? God, man is hilarious. Fucking Sid.
Similar to most of the panel here, I am very surprised at how not bad this movie is. I hadn't seen it before. I've only seen little bits and pieces, and those bits and pieces made me think I really wasn't going to be into it. And everyone's right. This doesn't have the Pixar magic, but I think that it has a lot of really, really, really great moments even that just don't add up to being a great story overall. Story is definitely the weakest thing this movie has going for it. And I just don't like Arlo as a lead character. And I think that he's just kind of just not fun. And I totally agree with the sentiment that the difference between the backgrounds and the characters is distracting more than anything. But I also think the characters just aren't in much of it, and it's more about the backgrounds and everything. And like they're flexing hard to the point that I would let go about how much I didn't really care about the story, because I just loved how it all looked. And I thought they really did a good job of building a narrative with just the world, aside like a B plot or even a C plot, but it was one that I enjoyed. And I think that so many of the beats of the plot in this were derivative of things we've seen before. Some a little too much, like the amount of Lion King 1-for-1 type situations they're in, I found distracting for sure at the least. The obvious comparisons to Land Before Time are just like, wow, y'all really didn't try to just differentiate yourself that much more. And a couple other things that I could bring up, but I think that there was enough variations and twists on them. The father's death scene, like they hold on him getting pulled away like 10 frames longer than I expected them to. And like that shot's going to stick with me the rest of my life. It might not have like hit me emotionally in the way that Lion King or Land Before Time did, but I appreciate they're like, okay, we know we got to do something different than those. And they fucking did it. And beyond that, I thought Spot was like a fun little side character. I think that they kind of missed, and knowing all the production stuff makes a lot of sense now. Like, his point kind of got lost to me. Like, I kind of don't like that they made him more of a human. Like, I liked him more as a pet / friend to Arlo, because by the time he meets the people at the end, it's like, I'm a little confused on, is this supposed to be his family, or are these just other humans that are taking
Tim,
him
they
in?
have different hair.
I understand that. I understand. But like there's the moment where we see the human man across the chasm or whatever.
That's
the choice there is weird. Like the choice there of like Arlo kind of be like, nah, come this way. It's just everything. What's up, Nick?
I was gonna say that part hit for me though, because you could tell you're like, oh, he's gonna have to let him go at the end. And as you guys know, actually you probably don't know because you weren't born and therefore traumatized in the 80s, when John Lithgow had to make Harry go back in the forest.
Hendersons.
It was fucking heartbreaking and stuck with you forever. I was like, if fucking Arlo like has to yell at him to leave, I will end this movie right now and not do the rest of the synopsis. And thank God we didn't quite get to that point, but it was still heartbreaking.
That's the thing is, I'm with you. It's just like I feel like earlier you said it, Nick, that like this movie feels like it's just like a bunch of different movies put together. Where I enjoy each of the individual scenes. It's just especially when you start dealing with Spot of like the way that Arlo, when the second or third storm starts coming in, and he kind of ditches Spot for a bit. I was like, oh my God, that is like some real dark stuff. And I hope they deal with this in an interesting way. And they just don't. They just keep moving on. And then like the next time they're really kind of confronting that, it's when Arlo just takes him away from this man that is clearly either his father or his people at the very least. You know what I mean?
We sort of got, I'll disagree with you a little bit because we sort of got the payoff for that moment. We got that Arlo was like terrified of the storm, right? It was traumatizing for him. He didn't leave Spot. He couldn't control his fear and had to go and hide. And that was really, really sad. And then you get the payoff, not payoff for that, but the resolution for that when he sees Spot like almost dying, and he, instead of hesitating, he just jumps into the water after him. And so that part hit for me really well. But it was really sad when he saw that because Arlo gets it. He sees the humans and he realizes that Spot's got people that he could be with. And after that, like seeing that arguably like hit hard for me, where they were trying to convey what family is, and they put the sticks in the circle, and then he buries two of them and looks up. I'm like, oh my God, like this is what an unbelievably simple and incredibly poignant way to get across the fact that both of your families are dead.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
scene.
but like that,
and that to me really did stand out and make this like something special. And like there are enough of those moments for me that to me, I look at our rankings, and earlier we were talking about tier list for the Pixar movies or for MCU. Looking at tier lists, like this to me is not bottom tier. Like bottom tier is reserved for Cars 2, and then there is this level above of like Pixar movies above where it's just like we expect a lot more from, and this is definitely not in a high tier by any means, but it's definitely not bad. And I really think that it'd be cool for somebody to take this movie and edit it down to like a 15-minute movie that doesn't have any dialogue, and it is just music and characters and stuff, because I think that they could really hit a lot of the most impactful moments without any of the dialogue they had, because I do think that it was the worst part of the movie.
I think that scene you guys were talking about where they're like explaining to each other that they have lost their family. Like, I feel like that breaks the rules of the world, where it's like, all right, Spot is a dog essentially, and then suddenly Spot can communicate to like a fairly high degree to like. There's no way Cecil could ever express to anyone that like I've died. You know what I mean? And so it's just, I don't know. The world feels very poorly built, and
he's still a human though.
I mean,
they're not saying like humans and
we don't
dogs.
know that. No, we don't know that he's still a human, or like how developmentally far his brain is. Like they were very much saying this is a dog. Why was he panting? Dogs pant because they can't sweat and they need to cool down. Why would a human pant? It makes no sense.
But if he's alone by himself in the wilderness with just animals, wouldn't he have just adopted some of those like animalistic qualities?
If he's hanging out with wolves,
maybe. Why did the
He
snakes
is.
have hands?
Yeah,
that was a little salamander, Tim. It was a little salamander.
Big salamander, Kevin.
They exist. They got big old
like
salamanders.
a cobra with fucking hands.
That thing was
That's what it looked
scary.
like.
Yeah.
Let's get to the plot, man.
Please tell us the story. Yeah, Nick, tell us the story.
Space, the final frontier. 65 million years ago, one rock hit another rock in what I think is the Oort cloud, but Kevin can tell me if that's the correct terminology for that.
It doesn't matter. It's not that clouded.
Which
One of the
was
rocks
sending it
shaped like the pizza planet truck.
Of course it is.
Oh.
Sending it skyrocketing toward Earth, and you're like, this is the end of the dinosaurs, but it's a funny comedic beat because it just kind of passes by, and a bunch of the long-necked dinosaurs called the brontosauruses or whatever they are kind of look up, and then they go back down into eating their dinner, and it's hilarious. And then millions of years later, dinosaurs built Facebook and spend most of their time arguing with each other as to whether or not they should get vaccinated, because maybe they have microchips and that can track your every mood. It's a simple existence, Kevin, a nice existence. Henry and his wife are expecting a little baby dinosaurs, and it's cute. There's two small eggs and one big egg, and you're like, "There's that big egg must have been real hard to get out," if you know what I mean. Like the two little ones, you're like hopefully that one came first, because the two little eggs just gonna fall right out of that thing.
Made room, yeah.
Yeah, then Buck, and then finally Arlo, who is very small despite the fact that he is in his shell, and you can already tell, even as a little tiny little baby dinosaur, he is scared of everything, including his own
Little bitch.
shadow. It doesn't. He's a bit skittish and very top heavy. That doesn't stop Buck from doing what all older brothers do the first time they meet their younger brother: hit him real hard with a stick. And that's never going to stop. The family lives below Clawtooth Mountain, and that's where they take care of their corn farm. And this is to Kevin's earlier point. I was like, huh, like, would these dinosaurs need to farm? Because they do live in a very green, rich environment. So farming was the first thing I was like, that's an interesting choice. I feel like that's a draft 1 choice. What's the draft 4 choice of this? Like, and like you cut for, that's like when you're watching the making of, like, we almost had them as corn farmers. That would have been crazy.
Yep. That's hella funny. Also, chicken farming.
Yeah.
What? So they're herbivores, so they're not eating the chickens, as far as we can tell, because we never see the kid. Correct. Like, all he wants to eat is berries, even though little Spot brings him a beetle and rips off its head in a very dramatic way.
There's some terrifying
imagery.
That was one of
the chickens are a good source of income because they sell them to other neighboring farms, Kevin. Everybody knows that.
That are also
do they barter, or is there like a monetary exchange happening?
There's barter.
Well, I mean, it's like Star Trek. Like there's no more capitalism, right? Everybody, you exchange goods, and that's all it is, Joe.
Didn't they still have money in Star Trek? I think they did.
Yeah, but nobody needs to have a job anymore. It's all
very.
Well, I think that when they traded with the Ferengi, they needed to have.
Well, you traded
money,
resources, right? You're like, here's some stuff, but there were space credits.
Don't get me started on the Ferengi.
There's different currencies.
You guys could be making up every single thing you're saying, and I would buy it.
No, there was that always interested me in Star Trek, and we can talk about that another time. But I was always like, what? How come Captain Kirk has a pimp ass place and nobody else has that kind of place? Like, he's getting paid something.
No,
maybe he's not getting paid in currency, but he is getting paid in, like.
First of all, the captain of a ship,
San Francisco.
The captain of a ship is going to have one of the better rooms, right?
Of course, Kevin, I'm referring to the Search for Spock. When we actually see his apartment in San Francisco, Bones comes over to give him the antique glasses, and he's like, "Oh, that's so great that you got these for me." And they make it sort of known that he's like, "Well, I didn't really have to like buy them. I found them or whatever." But then you're like, "How does he pay for this?" It doesn't matter. Listen, Arlo's also scared of chickens, and you'll soon find out why, because the lead mama chicken is terrifying. And I'm like, wow, I hope this character comes back, and she never does. Mom and Dad have finished the food storage area, and they put their mark on it. But when the kids go to do this, Papa tells them it's not that easy. You got to earn your mark by doing something big for something bigger than yourself.
And we moved fast through this. Like the babies were born real quick, and I'm shocked that we didn't get some comment from Nick about Buck and his stick. Just hitting everything.
Yeah, he made a joke about the
older brother
baby hitting the younger brother.
Of course,
I appreciate this very much.
I appreciate it too. Of course, we get Libby being the smart one, and she has one line in this, and then we never see her again. It's weird. She tricks Buck into wiring the things for her.
A quick conversation about making your mark. What a dumb fucking. He was like, "Hey man, you got to do something serious to earn your mark," and then Spot the older brother Buck waters the lawn well, and they're like,
he tears down the whole field.
Oh, you're right.
So I mean, still, all that work and
pushes his little head.
But you would think to yourself, like, to make them another field for the corn. But you would think to yourself, what the
that's
fuck
your
else
chores.
You got to do?
Yeah, that's your chores.
Like,
and then Libby does what? She does something also that was like that's just your chore.
She plows the line so they can plant the corn.
Right, with her face in the rain.
With her face.
Again, they're a better way. You know what I mean? You're a giant animal. Throw a rock down.
They like the way it feels. They like the way it feels.
Oh, I like the way it feels. That's why I do that. That's how I sweep my floors.
This movie's fucking dumb.
It is. All the farm stuff definitely did not work. That needed to be rethought.
Yeah,
I think the only thing I would have
really go
ahead, Joe. I was gonna say the only thing that I wanted was like, how about just like something they bite down on and it's just like a face mask?
That'd be way better.
That'd
be way better. Yeah,
covers their snout. But other than that, everything else extremely realistic. So I won't hear anything else about it.
Well, you know what's great. And
aren't they just setting the bar really low though for things that Arlo could be doing to make his mark?
Yeah, well, they really are, and then Arlo can't do it.
Take over the world like Alexander the Great, It's his dad. When his dad's like, make your mark, he's more like, be a part of the family, do your chores and stuff. He's hyping it up, but
really,
like
he has like a
Starbucks in the morning would have been like, there he is, kid. You get your mark on the board, right?
But it sets up this thing where it's like, oh, so this movie's about him earning his mark, and it's like, no, his dad like becomes. I mean, yeah, all right.
But it is. I mean, that thematically that is the case. Like at the end, he puts his mark on there because he saved the thing and survived and overcame
the rat. He saved the rat and survived. Really, it's that he came back home after running into a river, which these dinosaurs do. Seems like fairly often, and they don't know how to swim until the human teaches them.
He was attacked by pterodactyls. He met a fucking.
They don't know that. They were just like, you survived.
Triphyleprothops or whatever. He hung out with T-Rexes, which is what a cool plot twist that is. They're not bad guys, everybody. I mean, this guy went on a massive adventure, and the funny thing about it was I watched like the first 40 minutes of it yesterday, continued the second half of it today, and it felt like I was watching a TV show. Because by this point, you're super buddy with Spot, and you're all like smiling at each other while you're herding these buffalo, these longhorns. And I'm thinking like, wow, it was just like the other day that it was, in fact, yesterday that you were mad at him for killing, for like, you know, you chasing your dad, or you were chasing him and your dad died and you were so angry at him. But now you're just the best of pals. And it didn't feel like that just happened in the prior half of the movie. It felt like I was watching a 6-episode miniseries or something like that. And that just goes to great development, Kevin. Agriculture.
That's the opposite. That's bad development, where it's like, oh, this seems like it came out of nowhere that they've had this crazy relationship. But I guess he gave him berries and took away his father.
Jared, you think like 20 years later, Arlo's just sitting there. Everyone's left the coop. He's sitting with his new family, and he looks at his grandkids, and he's like, I should have killed that fucking critter. I should have killed that critter.
Yeah, the first time.
Like,
should have bashed with a steak.
At this point, Spot's come to visit multiple times. They have a great relationship, and once a year, he's just like, yeah.
Just kind of eyes him down there at the New Year's party. He's super drunk. He's like, I should have killed your ass, you bitch.
My thing was more on the more positive side of that, of ending it where it's just like they're making this all dramatic, but it's like it feels like it could be a simple solution of, oh, hey, you have this new family. I got my family. They're pretty dope. He's pretty dope. We're assuming y'all are pretty dope. We can all just be dope together. But they don't even think about that. They're like, nah. We have to go our separate ways.
Yeah. No, but yeah, the thing that kind of pisses me off about that moment, and we're fast forward to the end, and I know, and I'm sorry, but we get there. And Spot obviously is like, cool. I like these people. They're like me. They're not my family. Obviously, we all we're incredibly different, but we're both humans, right? We're both these sort of bipedal
like Mirage,
creatures or whatever. But they're definitely not my parents because I know that my parents are dead.
Yeah.
Maybe
I killed them.
But hey, Arlo, anyway, this was cool. This is cool meeting these people. Let's go back. And then Arlo's like, no, you got to leave. And he's like, well, why? Like, I'm cool. I'm cool to hang with you. Yeah. Maybe we include them in the future. I don't necessarily need to see them again. Like, I'm cool hanging out with you, Arlo. Like, I think it would have been more. I think it would have been more of a movie moment if Arlo, or if Spot rather, was like, I want to stay here. And then Arlo's sad and is like, you know what? This is the right move for you to stay here with people that you know.
Yeah.
But Spot was just like down to keep fucking around with his friend. That, like, by the way, you killed his dad. So I don't know.
Yeah,
but to be fair, the dad killed himself, right? Like, the dad apparently didn't understand how bad weather works in this tiny little thing that I'm sure it seems like has flash floods all the time. Because, like, what? 3-4 days later, maybe a week, let's say, if there's another flash flood.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I mean, it is a little bit telling that the dad's like, well, I mean, he actually has that moment too, where he's like, I blamed you for killing my dad, but it's not your fault. It wasn't your fault. It just wasn't his fault. Like they shouldn't have done that. His dad should have known better. He should have faced his fears, all that stuff. So he doesn't actually end up blaming Spot. But I'm with Andy on this one. I'd be like, yeah, they look at me. What do you want to do next? You want to go 7-Eleven?
Yeah, let's hang out. Let's keep this adventure going.
You're my fucking boy. I've saved you countless times. Yeah. You've saved me a couple times at this point. Yeah. Like, it's a lifelong friendship.
But you have to remember, like, he has to then take this rat, right? Because like they're vermin. That's what they call them earlier. Yeah, you're right. They call them critters. To his house and explain to his mom, like, hey, we need one more mouth to feed. Like, I know that, like, we hardly collected our harvest. We were going to starve to death. But, like, I brought one more thing to eat stuff.
Clearly, Spot is smarter than all of these dinosaurs combined because he's out there, like, figuring out, and apparently has a better sense of smell, even though I'm pretty sure the dinosaurs would have a pretty good sense of smell. Their nasal passages are 500 times bigger than ours.
huge.
Yeah, by the way, when mom is like, I need you to pick up the load. I need you to keep on farming this corn better. It's like, Dad died. That's a big ass body we don't got to feed anymore, Mom.
Yeah, we get way less corn.
We need like a financial advisor
Also,
to come in here and redo the math and kind of figure out like, here's what you all need. Let's actually really figure out the amount that we're trying to get corn, you know. And also, you don't got to worry about feeding Spot. That motherfucker he'll just eat anything, dude. He'll eat a little bug or whatever. Like that dude will eat
He's
whatever.
He's gonna end up eating your
corn. He can be
corn.
like a barn cat and take care of all the other creatures around.
Now, here's the thing. Every time they cut to the mom, she's like overloading herself.
Oh, she's
like,
she's
mom, take less things. Like you don't have to have the same
burden.
amount. Yeah, I know, but then like that makes her collapse. Like out of the like 6 times we see her, she's collapsed on the floor carrying too much weight.
But
and it's like, don't carry so much weight.
This movie.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna die. I thought
she for sure didn't, dude.
First
they
time
died.
she was, I thought they were about to hit us with the fucking 1-2 punch because I thought they're gonna be like, all right, the dad just died, and everyone's gonna be like, it wasn't as good as Lion King, so we're gonna fucking hit him with the mom next scene, and they didn't, which was a wise call, guys. Good for that.
I thought mom was gonna be lying on the ground with like fucking velociraptors eating her carcass.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, back to the plot. Arlo, Buck, and Libby both earn their marks in the various fashions. We talked about Arlo, then redoubles his efforts and digs deep to command the chickens, and he runs in there, but Buck ends up messing with him. So he quits the mark game for good. He's like, I'm done with this. I'm never gonna leave my mark. But Papa has a better idea. He wakes Arlo up at night and kills him. 2 kids is enough. JK. He walks Arlo out into the field full of fireflies, which Arlo is terrified of until his dad shows him the beauty on the other side of his fear. They run around, igniting the whole field with green light from the fireflies, and Papa gives Arlo a new job. If he still wants to make his mark, kill that little critter who's been sneaking in and stealing their food. Now, this is one of those, the first things I'm like, is this a kid's movie? Because when he pounds the pumpkin, he's like, this is what you do. Trap it, hit him with a stick, blow his fucking brains out. I'm like, wow, that is some very adult imagery to be showing to children, but you know, it's Pixar.
Everything here really rushed, by the way. Like I can tell when Tim mentions all the issues that are in the movie when it came to developing it and having all these rewrites and creative differences. When they're like, all right, Arlo, fucking kill the critter whenever you see it. All right, it's stealing our corn. Got it, Dad. I expect a couple of scenes of development to show maybe a couple of difficulties Arlo might be having with it. Maybe he gets tricked by one critter. Maybe something silly happens and he creates like a little funny moment. They're just straight to like, nope, Spot's here.
Caught it.
He got caught. And I'm like, damn, there's like no development there. There's no like lead up or build up to having Spot actually get caught. And I was kind of bummed out by that. And then I was like, oh, yeah, development issues. I kind of remember people talking about that.
I think also this is a moment where it's like, it just makes the dad seem like an idiot. Like, all right, he's having trouble taking care of these animals because he's scared of them. So now let's give him a different task. Oh, catch and kill this creature. Like, this creature that will have to now defend itself. It just, like, that seems like more of a job than the last one.
Yeah, I got the vibe that the dad was like, look, we got a dud of a kid. Yeah. We just need to like make him feel happy. Anything we can give him. And so I didn't really get the feeling that he was giving him the task to kill this critter. I think it was more like, hey, keep yourself busy, do this stuff. If you see it, if you catch it, that's awesome. But like, we'll see. But I think the plan was more just
then he gets all mad.
Get some intel. Well, I think that's because then it was such a catch and then he fucking let it go. I think that was just more like, oh my God, you idiot, as opposed to like, you really fucked this up, man.
Yeah. Of course, that's exactly what happens. He catches it, and then he realizes things kind of helpless, and he lets it go. His father catches him and orders his son to accompany him to stalk and kill the little bastard so he can get over his fears. Arlo's worried that they'll get lost, but his father tells him as long as he can see the river, he can find his way home. Arlo tries to keep up, but stumbles and breaks his foot, and his father realizes he's pushing his son too hard. I just wanted you to get through your fear. I know you have it in you. And Arlo says, but I'm not like you. And he says, you're me and more. Then a big old wave of mud and water kills Papa forever.
Jesus,
Nick. Did the look that he gave hit you guys as much as it hit me?
Terrifying.
Where it's just like the eyes, and you see the water coming, and it like literally just lasts like longer than it needed to. Even the sound,
I didn't like it. I didn't like it, Tim. I didn't like the sort of, it's okay, let me go sort of look he had. As if they've gone through so much trials and tribulations, as if And Tim, I'll tell you what, it's the exact same look that Bing Bong gave.
Bing bong.
Knowing that, like,
Oh,
I'm going to let
see?
you go. I'm going to let you go right here.
Sad.
The dad gave this
Like,
look
I don't even
as
care
if,
about you.
the dad gave this look as if they've been fighting for their lives for the last 3 months. And now the dad is like, you know what? I'm ready to let go. It was bizarre, Tim. It was
See,
bizarre. It didn't hit me.
For me, it worked the other way. The reason I liked it is I didn't get that read at all. I got pure fear.
Yeah,
And
just
like
terror.
that's why I thought it was different than The Lion King and Land Before Time type things, because it didn't feel like that. It felt like he was just like, fuck, I fucked up. This is the end of this. You're on your own, kid.
Yeah, but also like maybe a little relief. Like, well, it's finally
Yeah.
over.
One
I don't,
last
have to take care, I don't have to take care of you anymore.
This stupid kid.
There was a moment
that there's like
constantly
a small,
tripping.
Do you think if you guys were in that spot, and I think I know the answer for Kevin on this one, but if you knew you were like, oh shit, this thing's about to take me out, what would be your last words to this kid? Because I feel like Kevin's would be like, this is all your fault. And then the mud just takes him over.
that would
Just fall
Kevin would have
over.
said, I hope you're happy.
Yeah. Does this make you happy now? You failed me for the last
kill that vermin.
He doesn't hate his dad. It's not like his kid would be like stoked that his dad's gone.
No,
you
I
know?
meant the
Like, they have-
dad. The dad, I would, if I were the dad, looking in my child's eyes as I knew that death was imminent and it was his fault. Do you say this is your fault, son? Live with this forever, or do you
It's
just kinda
not
keep
his
it?
fault.
I'm just messing around.
Forever.
I'm messing around. Anyway, let's keep
You
going.
say make your mark, right? Like that's the only thing that's acceptable to say in this situation.
I would say never return home. You shaved me for the last time.
I love that you're in your story, your scar.
Your
I'm
mom
always
will
scarred
hate you
my
more than
story.
I hate you right now. Because I'm about to die.
Make some shit up, because if you tell
I
the
hate
truth,
you,
your
son.
mom's gonna bash you open. Things are pretty dire at the farm now that Papa is dead. Mom is breaking her back, and Buck has started dealing cannabis out of the family wagon. Arlo needs to step it the fuck up. Don't worry, Mama, I won't let us starve. And then he puts like one extra piece of corn on his back, and his mom's just like,
No, and then he leaves for like till winter kicks in. He's like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna work extra
I
hard,"
got it, Ma. Don't worry.
and then
her
falls
mom's
in the
like,
water.
Kevin, her mom's like, if we don't get enough food together by winter, we're all gonna starve, Arlo. It's not like we feed off of trees or anything.
No,
Anyway,
we can only eat corn.
we can only eat corn. Arlo once again spots that little critter that killed his dad. This time he doesn't hesitate to take a chunk out of its little hairy ass. Of course, it ends up falling in the river, which has taken so many of the dinosaur family already. Does this water's hunger know no bounds?
Thank you, Nick. Thank you.
You're welcome. Arlo gets knocked out and comes to far away from White Clawtooth Mountain, which is usually how most of my hangovers start as well.
If you get knocked out in a river, you're dead, right?
Yeah,
Like you're gonna drown, right?
You're-
That's just
We just watched Old. We know how this plays out. You don't
They
just
say
like
that-
magically wake up.
right.
somewhere.
Okay, all right, cool. So
Kevin, they
there's-
say that babies are only born with two instincts. One is to close their eyes and hold their breath in water, and the other one is to shit on you the second you open the diapers.
No, Nick, they grip your fingers.
Is that
Pretty
what?
cute.
Is that what?
That's the second one, yeah.
So the two are they grip your
Hold their
fingers and they
breath.
shit on you
There was
whenever you
three.
pull the diapers open.
There was 3.
Anyway, with his knee all busted, Arlo barely makes it ashore. Once he gets his bearings, he realizes he has no idea where he is, and so he calls out for his mom, and it's real sad. And he says, "Mama,"
it-
and then his mom gently calls back, "You're right, piece of shit."
Cut off.
I love
Damn
that
it.
just a couple words cut off there, which made it somehow, I'm sure, even better.
We gotta move the gate because that one was a banger. Let me try it again. He called out gently to his mama, and his mama called back, "You're on your own now, you piece of shit."
It echoed through the mountains.
A howl of the distance draws his attention to the cliff above. He tries to climb up there first, cannot do it. But then, of course, he spots the little critter that killed his papa and musters all of his energy and uses his head to climb up after it. Of course,
Very nimble, this little
Very
dinosaur.
those heads are strong.
I fucking hate this stupid ass dinosaur's kneecaps. Oh my god.
Yeah,
me
they look
too.
so
And his
gross.
Belly.
They're so
his belly's
red.
so jiggly.
You know
It's
what they
just
look like? They look like corns on your toes. When you look down, you're like, I don't need that thing there. It serves no purpose.
horns on your toes.
We don't
There's
have
some
corns on our toes.
You get a little callus on the top of your toe from your shoe, and you're like, why is that there?
I don't have that.
Really?
That's not a
Yeah.
familiar thing.
That's like an old person
Nick,
thing, right?
It can't be you either. We can't have your wiki feet drop it, okay?
Fair enough, guys.
People can't know the truth.
That was the you all passed.
Yeah, so I mean, this is another moment where it's just like, God, I don't care about this little fucking like the dinosaur being designed the way it is. Like, I just don't believe the mobility that it's doing. Like, it trying to climb up this mountain using its head to like as an arm.
Well,
like,
I mean, Kevin, you have to remember it was angry, right? And as we learned a long time ago, fear leads to hate, hate leads to anger, anger leads to rock climbing.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get back to the plot, let me tell you about our sponsors.
This podcast is brought to you by MeUndies. MeUndies believes that your comfort is about more than what's touching your skin. It's about being comfortable in your skin. And when you're truly comfortable, you get a slam dunk kind of feeling, you know? That's right, MeUndies and Space Jam are bringing you new undies. Ladies and gentlemen, you know I only wear MeUndies. A long time ago, I found out how comfortable they were, threw away the rest of my underwear, and only buy MeUndies. I still do to this day. And the Space Jam one is interesting for people like Blessing. MeUndies' new Space Jam print features Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and other iconic characters who are all tuned up and ready for a rematch. MeUndies are made from micromodal fabric, which is not only soft, but breathable, light, and impossibly cozy. Check out their new Space Jam collection in the softest undies, socks, bralettes, dog hoodies, and loungewear, available in sizes XS to 4XL. Here's your chance, do your dance, to score their new collection before the clock runs out. To get 15% off your first order, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/morning. That's MeUndies.com/morning. Up next is Canva. We've talked about Canva a lot, ladies and gentlemen. If you are making things on the internet and you need video, you need audio, you need Canva Pro. Tim's been using it, Roger's been using it, Nick has been using it. Anybody who's not just screaming into a microphone all day like me at Kind of Funny is using it to make our stuff better. Canva Pro is the easy-to-use design platform that has everything you need to design like a pro. Whether you're a professional designer or just getting started, Canva Pro can help boost you and your team's productivity and creativity. Canva Pro has everything you need in one place, including a collection of over 75 million premium photos, videos, audio, and graphics. Design like a pro with Canva Pro. Right now, you can get a free 45-day extended trial when you use our promo code. Just go to canva.me/kindoffunny to get your free 45-day extended trial. That's canva.me/kindoffunny. Canva.me/kindoffunny. And our final sponsor of the day is Upstart. If you're carrying a credit balance month after month, it can feel like you're in a never-ending cycle of debt. Upstart can help you make that final payment so you can get ahead. Upstart is the fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan all online. Unlike other lenders, Upstart considers your income and current employment to find you a smarter rate for your loan. With a 5-minute online rate check, you can see your rate upfront for loans between $1,000 to $50,000. You can receive the funds as fast as 1 business day after accepting your loan. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/KFMB. That's upstart.com/KFMB. Don't forget to use our URL so that they know we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your application. Go to upstart.com/KFMB.
Here we are.
I
now.
swear, I just wanted to grab that knee joint and just squeeze it and just see if pus would have popped out.
It would have.
God.
It would have been
That's
gross,
gross.
Andy. It would have been gross.
I also don't believe that Kevin wouldn't use his head as another appendage if his
but
neck
okay,
was long
that's the
enough.
thing. Like, I
neck
would,
support,
but
yeah.
like, I'm not a whiny little bitch. You know what I mean? Like, this little whiny little kid's not putting his fucking neck down like that. You know?
He's learning. That's how you have to learn. Everyone starts off with a little whiny little scaredy cat.
I wish the
Eventually-
pterodactyls had eaten him.
They're about to, man. They can't get them all in the mouth, though. They tried. And then, let's see. Arlo climbs to the peak and sees the river. He remembers what his father told him. As long as you can find the river, you can find your way home. Then he does a number one thing they tell you to do when you're stranded in the forest. Immediately find the nearest bush of berries and eat them. Right, Kevin? You know the old saying, any
Mhm.
berry's a good berry, right?
That is the old saying. Any
Right.
berry's a good berry.
Oh,
You
dude,
can
it's
watch
three, let
Call
them
of the
be.
Wild. Call of the Wild to see how that ends. Is that the name of the book?
I think so, right?
Yeah.
That's where he eats the berries and shits himself to death.
He
Jack-
dies. Yes, he
Jack
dies.
White?
Jack
Nope.
London.
Kerouac.
Neither of those were correct, right?
Jack.
Jack with Robin Williams?
Oh, great film. Was that the one where he's a child,
So
but he's a
sad.
man-sized child?
That
You're
movie
like, oh,
fucks
what that
me up.
kid is.
Yeah.
Scary. Yeah, it's-
Man-sized
the
child.
ending when he's
Right.
graduating high school is like dramatic.
And somehow J-Lo looks like more attractive now. So I don't even know how
Oh my
science
God,
is
are you
working with
kidding
her.
me, Andy?
We
Did you see
need
pictures
people to
of her?
investigate.
Just a picture
Yeah.
of her
And
with
she
the
and
second
Ben Affleck
birthday
are
party
back
with Ben Affleck.
together?
Are you kidding me, Joey?
Wild,
Have we
wild.
talked about this? How do we feel about this?
So
We'll
good.
talk about it offline. Arlo falls and gets his leg stuck between two rocks, and the dumbass can't even figure out how to just dig around it. So he falls asleep,
So
terrified of the
fucking
forest
stupid.
at night. Of course, when he wakes up, the little critter dug out his leg, and we're like, maybe this little
But
critter's
why? Why would the critter do that?
Because he's like, this might be my big friend now. And
Because he's
No.
like, I fucking killed this guy's dad.
Yeah.
He's
I-
my big friend
I do
now.
feel bad.
This is the least I
Yeah.
could do.
That's true. Anyway, it starts to rain. Arlo tries to make himself a broke-ass shelter. Thankfully, the critter comes to bring him food, which he doesn't eat because apparently he's not a cannibal, and this thing is a lizard. The lizard runs away. So the next day, the critter brings him a giant-ass bug that is the stuff of nightmares to consume, and Arlo's like, I'm not going to eat that. So what does the critter do in this kid's movie? Rips the bug's head off.
Yeah, that was really
And stares
funny.
at him like, if I were bigger, I would do this to you.
Yeah.
No, I gotta say, I brought this up a little bit earlier, but like the comparisons to Lion King are so much more than I could have ever expected in this movie. Because like, okay, we start off, we get a little family dynamic, then boom, we get the bonding moment between the dad and the kid in a grassy field during nighttime with some like type of light show thing going on. Then the dad dies in a stampede type situation in a canyon. Then the kid's on his own, meets a little friend. The friend tries to convince him to eat bugs to be able to survive. It's like, okay, cool. It just keeps going and going on. I'm like, all right, guys.
I mean,
Inspired.
you want to know another parallel? When we
Mhm.
get to the T-Rexes, which are the king of the jungle, they like don't eat the things that they should be eating, right? Like T-Rexes would for sure have eaten that fucking kid and the other thing, right? They're like, oh, food, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Wait,
Arlo,
but like what in Lion King doesn't eat what it's
remember how he's like, we got to teach this kid how to be a vegetarian so he doesn't eat us? Timon and Pumbaa was like, he's not, so he can't eat us
Tastes
because
like
he was supposed to
chicken.
eat him.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
I'm just saying, if Tim's gonna fucking try to find some broke ass,
But like
through line-
Tim's comparisons were good.
I
You
know.
just compared 3 like carnivores to
No,
non-carnivores.
I'm
like
with Nick. I'm with Nick. Yeah.
Thank
like
you.
like if you'd been like, "Hey, remember the sharks in Finding Nemo? They're very similar to these T-Rexes or
In Nick's
Allosaurus
defense,
maybe."
the movie was very long, Kevin.
I mean, I had to watch the Lion King Part 1 and then Lion King Part 2, right? Which is
Yeah.
like a
Did you
live
watch
action.
1.5?
No, that's rubbish. That's
Oh,
like
One
some,
and a Half's good.
That's like some
Yeah,
bullshit.
One and a Half's really
Return
good.
of Jafar bullshit.
No, okay, all right. So first of all,
Of course,
like
inevitable.
Return of
I only have
Jafar.
3
Return of Jafar is a great fucking film. You asshole. Second of all,
Cinema.
1.5.
Cinema, Kevin.
Listen,
what
here's what just happened. I made a bad joke about Tim. I'm mad it didn't hit, so now I'm doubling down.
It hit. What's next? Final Fantasy 11. What do you got to say today, Nick?
Oh my god! If you guys want to tweet at Tim and let him know that you also love Final Fantasy 11 as the greatest Final Fantasy game, please. He'll commiserate.
Wait, Tim, do you not like Return of Jafar?
No, he loves
love it.
Yeah, it's great, right?
Yeah.
Thank
Straight
you.
to TV,
God, I
straight
got
to
scared there for a
VHS.
second.
Just you know what it is? You know what's better than Return of Jafar? Playing with the puffy case the VHS tape used to come in because the rest of the movie is dog water.
No,
I
you know
don't-
what's better is me driving to Starbucks with Cool Greg a couple days ago, and me being like, "Hey, what you been watching recently?" And he's just like, "Oh, every
I
morning I,
know
wake
this.
up
I
and I
know
watch
this.
the Hercules animated show on Disney Plus." Okay.
That's amazing.
Wait, do you remember real quick a conversation we had recently at we went to Outback, Tim, and you were like, "Yeah,
Without us.
yeah, I know it was
Fucking
really sad."
outed.
Next time, and you were like, "Yeah, that Aladdin does a cameo on that," and he said, "Thanks for letting me know." Like, I don't know if I could have handled like just seeing Aladdin.
Oh, great.
God, I miss
Oh,
Greg.
great. I do also want to clarify I've never actually seen Return of Jafar. Anyway,
Yeah.
back to
Yeah, well, it's
the-
clear.
Anyway,
That was
back-
clear.
back to it. Let's see. Arlo follows the little critter up the side of a mountain via a very narrow pass. When they come to a break in the rocks, Arlo's like, "This is it. This is the end. This little thing finally got the better of me." But instead, the little thing pucks behind him and makes him make a bridge with his neck. And then he's like, "Just lift yourself up, dummy." And he's like, "Oh, right, I already did that." Lifts himself up, and voila, we get to the berries. Then
Somewhere around here, we
Whoa,
get
the
a
berries.
shot that is identical to the Lion King cross the log shot. I'm just saying, guys.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
But
I'm
he's
also
the
just saying
log
you
in
guys
this one.
You didn't understand the nuance of when I was saying
Return of the
Yeah,
Jafar.
some of the animals that should eat other animals are friends, and that's what the T-Rex part was for me.
Yeah, but like
So-
Tim was making direct comparisons. Like
Yeah,
he
this
was
is an
saying,
indirect comparison.
this
I'm saying-
scene of them doing this is very
Oh my
much
God.
like this exact
Are
scene
we
of
gonna
them.
have another vest moment? Is that where we are right now? Are we vesting it? Are we
No.
invested in this argument?
No, because Tim was wrong in the vest moment. Tim is right this time. Right?
I don't know if there's I don't know if there's a right or wrong.
There is. There
I can
is.
hear-
You are the wrong.
I can hear Cecil just like being like, Kevin, shut up. Like,
He's
he's
just
right.
He's just like this. Y'all been talking for an hour and 20 minutes about the Good Dinosaur, and you're 5
My
minutes
dog
into the
wouldn't
plot
sound
right
like
now.
that. You know that.
Yeah, for a
You know that
second,
my
I
dog
thought
wouldn't
Nick was
sound
going
like that.
into some crazy voice for Cecil. I would have never expected, like, y'all been talking about this. That's not what I'd expect from Cecil.
Like, for some reason, the voice they made Anna Paquin do, where you're like, why are they making her do a southern draw? It's very weird.
Give it to me, Andy.
My boyfriend's name is Babby.
That wasn't your best. That was definitely not your
That,
best.
yeah, that was
Thank
really
you.
bad. That was bad X-Men right there.
That's
Hey,
somehow
Pappy.
perfect, Andy. Yeah,
Okay,
somehow
okay,
perfect.
that was better.
Come on. Anyway, he Spot tries to stop him, but Arlo doesn't want to. And then a big ass lizard thing. What do we call? What do we say? What this was a salamander? or something? It was like a
Salamander.
cobra. Comes
Yeah,
out.
it was like a snake with little tiny hands.
It was terrifying. Of course, they get it chased off, and then who do we see? The Megalosaurus, the pet collector guy, played by the
Not a
director, right?
megalosaurus.
Stegla.
That is it. You negative the stigma.
Thank you.
Up.
The big dinosaur comes out with all sorts of friends hanging off of him, and he's like, "That's a nice little critter. I could use him to help protect me. What do you give me for him?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know." And then he introduces Arlo to the rest of his friends, and they all serve a very specific purpose. This is Fury. He protects me from creatures that crawl in the night. This is Destructor. She protects me from mosquitoes. And this is Dream Crusher. He protects me from having unrealistic goals. And this is Debbie.
The unrealistic goals.
Come on, dude,
What,
it's
like,
fine.
cause you're like, oh, it protects him from bad dreams. No, unrealistic goals. That was the best joke in this movie.
This
That's
guy,
how low the bar is.
this guy was definitely inspiration for Sacha Baron Cohen's character in Luca.
And 100%.
Just the
Yeah.
weird kind of
Mm.
random dude that shows up. And by the way, it is a Styracosaurus or Styracosaurus. I know Tim mentioned it earlier, but let's just get it right. It's Styracosaurus.
And I messed up.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you,
Mhm.
Andy.
No problem.
It's stores.
However, they only have one horn. They only have one horn. Keep that in mind.
What?
Oh. Can they still be
On the
considered
nose. They got the nose horn. They got a bunch of
Oh,
horns.
but they got
kinda-
that on the side, right? They
around
got
their
like the
heads, yeah.
sideshow Bob looking hair.
correct, but those are just considered spikes.
you.
Those are not horns.
different?
Mhm.
Yellow, new. The pet collector wants to keep the critter. He says, "I name him, I keep him." And then Arlo realizes, "Oh, actually, I'm becoming fond of this little thing." So they race to name it, and Arlo calls him Spot, to which a little critter responds. Then Debbie goes wild and chases them off. Spot chases
Which
a ground-
felt weird. The Debbie like attacking them, I was a little unclear on like
Why-
what
but
was
also-
going on.
What
don't
was
know what Debbie
Debbie's
does.
role? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Debbie
That's-
might be like the Avenger in this, where she's like, "You did my boy wrong. I have to claw your eyes out."
That's probably what Debbie does. That sounds about right for Debbie.
We just don't know.
I
Let's see. Love this next scene where Spot chases. What I assume is a groundhog. What do we call it? It looks kind of like a gerbil or a hamster.
Yeah, it looks
Down.
like maybe a gopher.
Yeah,
right?
a little gopher. That's strong. It looks a little gopher. He chases him down a hole and then like blows into the hole and it pops up. And then Arlo tries it and he's kind of lame at it at first, but then eventually he musters up a gust of wind and blows them all up. And this is another moment that I laughed out loud because as they're leaving, all of them recede back in their holes at the same time with the same
Yeah.
shitty look. Like, what the hell, bro?
love them.
It made me laugh. Arlo falls
Easy
in-
wins, but they won for me.
Yeah.
Easy. Sometimes I'll need some easy wins, guys. Arlo falls into the water below and Spot shows him how to swim. Then they eat some magical fruit and wake up 3 days later at the blackjack table at the Pepper Mill in Reno as the dealer takes their last $5 chip. And you wonder, how did it all go wrong, Kevin? Was it when I answered Snowbike Mike's call? And that's never do that? Who knows? We don't know. Oh, right. He's going to get high. They got high off that fucking rotten fruit. That's what happened. Arlo shows Spot how to
Works
play with
either.
the
Can't
fireflies.
tell if Nick's telling us about what happened this weekend or
No,
the
no,
story.
Joey, nothing happened this weekend. It was a disappointment for everyone.
Did we do mushrooms and wind up at the Pepper Mill? No.
They
we don't
definitely didn't. They definitely didn't.
Don't
Have you guys ever seen videos of raccoons that have eaten rotten fruits that are drunk?
No,
And they
it's
like
hilarious,
stumble
though.
around.
I'll send some assets at some
Thank you.
point.
I would like to see that, please.
I didn't know that. I was kind of confused by it because I didn't understand why an old rotten fruit would make you trip out. Maybe
Well,
you
so
start to
that's the thing.
Immediately, I thought, Kevin, oh, they're gonna start vomiting. This is old. It's gross. They're gonna like start barfing, and it's gonna make them sick. I didn't know it would make them trip out.
Maybe this was some sort of mold thing, but what I've seen before is fruit will fall, rot a little, and start to like
Ferment.
basically ferment and turn into
Got it.
alcohol. But
Now, I
this
will say-
definitely.
Throughout this whole sequence of them being high, that's the most together that the art styles have been in this whole movie.
True. Very
It's the most
true.
in sync that they've been.
We
I
see
do
the
like-
the ball, the Pixar ball, when they're high.
Oh, really?
So there's
Did we
your
get
references.
A114 reference anywhere? Because I didn't find it.
Yeah, that's not the number, but yeah.
A114.
Room 1408. I like that. I like that, by the way. The Spot has some banger moments in this, and one of them is they're eating the fruit, and he looks up at the tree and sees all the ripe fruit up there, and he's like, huh. And then they just start tripping ass, which is hilarious.
A113 can be seen formed by pickets on the wooden fence surrounding the cluckers.
Got it.
I like all the animals are named like the wrong things. Like chickens are cluckers and the owls are the old hoots.
Right.
Old
Or
hoots.
the velociraptors or the rustlers.
Yeah, that's as
kinda
fuck.
fun. That was cool. Arlo shows Spot how to play with the fireflies, and then tries to ask him about his family. And then Spot kind of draws the circle and sticks those little things in there, and then puts two of them down, the two tall ones down, leaving just himself. And you get the picture that his parents are dead, and it's super sad. So Arlo tells him the same thing. He draws a little circle, puts his whole family up there, and then puts his father in slowly as he points to Spot and says, "You did this, motherfucker.
That's your fault.
This is your fault."
Yeah.
Anyway, it's super sad. This is a really, really sad and great scene. I think it's a great way to get this across. And then Arlo tells Spot he misses his dad, and Spot gives him a hug. And then he howls into the night to honor his family, and Arlo joins in. They wake up the next morning, and Arlo has a nice little piss. It's just a weird ass scene, but I thought it was hilarious. He's like, "Why are you looking at me, dude?" And then the storm rolls in, and Arlo gets a flash of his father's death along with the lightning, and unfortunately runs into the forest away from the river to hide underneath a fallen tree. When the storm passes, Arlo freaks. He's lost the river, and all is good though, because a group of pterodactyls find them, and their leader Thunderclap tells them that the storm provides. And then he's like, "Hey man, we'll help you find your way back. But before you do that, can you help me find like some and save some of these survivors?" And Arlo's like, "Yeah, maybe this is my lot in life. Maybe this is how I'll make my mark. I'll for sure do that." And then they save the world's cutest creature, and Thunderclap immediately eats it, and it's terrifying. This is a turn I did not see coming.
This movie, I don't know. Like, I'm happy it was here because this is about the only interesting thing that happens in this stupid movie. But holy shit, like they turn and are vicious, like horribly vicious. And it's just like it didn't need to do this turn, but like I'm glad it did. I guess
It's the
I
sequence
really like
from
the setup too.
it's the Last of Us sequence. It's just like it's David in the Last of Us.
I don't know what
That's
that
so
means.
true. But I love the like just their kind of like weird religious shit going into it of like the storm provides. They're all just kind of like looking to him as the leader and stuff. Like they set it up really well so that when the twist happened, I was always a little like uneasy with them. So like I liked them throughout this movie as just kind of like problems for them to overcome.
Well,
Steve Zahn is the perfect
exactly,
person for this.
Joey. They got me with Steve Zahn. He's never been a bad guy before. I'm like, Steve Zahn from that thing.
But he's always kind of weird.
He is kind of weird, so that's perfect.
And that's not even necessarily in the characters he plays, just in him and his existence as a human. But I like him.
Let's see.
By the way, I posted an assets. The little kid from Dennis the Menace looks like Spot. I just kept thinking about him the whole time.
Andy, would you believe that I had a Dennis the Menace joke
Interesting
in here that we glossed
Holy
over?
shit.
No, I would not have.
You
What a
nailed it,
waste!
Andy.
What a waste!
Kev, can you bring
Also-
up both the picture that Andy just sent and this raccoon video you sent, please?
Yeah.
up, Joey?
Also, if you like Steve Zahn, Nick / anybody else here, he's in that new HBO show, The White Lotus.
Oh.
With the
Wasn't he
her
the
name?
bad guy in? Was it Saving Silverman?
He was the good guy in Saving
Yeah, I
Silverman.
think he was trying to save Silverman.
Yeah, but kidnapping a
Black.
woman, right?
Well,
I mean,
the
we
movie
can
was
agree
bad.
that's a bad thing to
That
do,
was a
right?
bad movie. But I mean, if
Great
she's
movie.
making your friends
Great
make poor
movie.
choices in his life, maybe it's warranted. You know?
But like,
No, it was definitely not warranted. It was a bad movie.
Thank
that was
you.
one of those where I was watching this same film. I was like, I don't like any of these characters. They're all
It's a
terrible.
great-
Why would
it's
they
a
do
It's
this?
a great movie, though.
Although
It's a
they did
great
have
movie. I don't think I've
one
ever
where they
seen
had the
it.
Neil Diamond cover band, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was perfect. That was pretty great.
She got the way to do me, baby.
She got so wet. This kid is psychotic. It's off. I don't want to look at it anymore. I don't want to look at it anymore.
This is
I
the
don't want to
kid.
look at it.
This is the kid.
Give me the raccoon drunk.
It's a gift, so it won't
Yeah,
like maximize.
Yeah, I won't maximize. He's just waking up too.
It's like,
He's
Super
like,
stoned.
hold on.
back to the plot.
Hold on, I got a good one.
Give us the good one.
But this is just a raccoon that broke into an alcohol factory.
Oh, I've seen.
I mean, this is great. I'll watch it.
Oh no.
Look at this.
Hammered.
Oh no.
We've all been here. Andy, we've all been here. You know what I mean?
I've been there.
I've seen Nick like this. Yeah.
Oh, I've been there multiple times,
Just-
man.
oh,
I'm not proud of
no.
it, but I'm also not ashamed of it.
I'm
Poor
just gonna
little
say,
guy.
I would much rather watch The Adventures of a Drunk Raccoon than maybe watch The Good Dinosaur again.
Damn,
Thank you,
harsh
Joey.
words.
Well, you won't
True.
have to wait long, Joey. Turning Red in theaters next year. Pixar's next movie. It's about a raccoon.
I don't think
Technically-
she's drunk the whole time.
Oh,
We
no,
don't
he
know
is
the
hammered.
plot.
He's an
We don't know.
alcoholic. It's
Anyway,
actually
back-
quite sad.
back,
It's
yeah,
a
back to the plot.
Tanuki.
It's like that Ben Affleck movie that just came out where he's like, "This is my last shot. It's either alcoholism or I get to coach basketball." Let's see. Not kidding. That's what the movie was about. Then we stop. Let's see. They want to eat Arlo right off of Arlo's back. So Arlo bangs out and he heads to what he thinks is a nearby Bronchosaurus, but it's not. It actually turns out to be two T-Rexes, and the situation goes from bad to worse.
Love the
It's got-
visuals.
was
That looks
cool.
so
That was
damn
really
cool
cool.
of them moving away. And it's like, oh shit.
They scare off the pterodactyls and head back for Arlo and Spot, but it turns out T-Rexes are actually pretty cool. They're like, "Man, you okay, kid?" And he's like, "Well, you're not going to eat me. Everything I knew that got taught about dinosaurs from Jurassic Park was wrong." And he's like, "Jurassic Park never came out because humans never evolved. We are the ones. We are the leaders
Steven
now."
Spielberg ended up making another movie.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
He made Human Park. It was about a bunch of humans who figured out how to make knives and shit. Nash and Ramsey are siblings, played and led by their father, Sam Elliott, who now Snowbike Mike knows from his number 2 all-time favorite movie, Roadhouse. Arlo asks the T-Rexes for
All-time
help,
favorites.
but they're too busy looking for their lost herd. And you're like, "Oh, I wonder what this herd's going to be." It turns out it's just a buffalo. You're like, "Okay, I guess buffalo exists in this world." They
Yeah,
strike
that was
up
a
a
little
deal.
lame.
Spot will help him sniff out the herd of longhorns if they'll help him get hit back to White Claw Mountain. They spot the herd, but it's being held up by some rustlers. So Arlo gets the dubious job of acting as bait by standing on a rock and howling, which Spot helps him. He stands on the rock and screams, and soon enough, the rustlers come running. And they're, as we noted before, they're velociraptors, I think, or raptors of some sort. Before they can pounce, the T-Rexes make their move and swat the rustlers away. But the plan goes bad when the herd starts to stampede. Butch goes down with 2 rustlers on his back, so Arlo steps up and starts headbutting a mother effer. And
They have feathers, by the way. What the fuck?
Buying into this bullshit. It's propaganda.
And like they somehow
guys, we
figured out a
can't
way to
stop-
make dinosaurs look even more
Lame.
silly.
They were so
Yeah.
dumb looking. It's the feathers.
It did not look cool.
You want to talk about the difference in character designs, or like the disparity between the environment in this? The rustlers to the T-Rexes, I'm like, this is not the same movie. These look ridiculous.
100%.
But let's see. The Rexes sees the opportunity and toss the shit out of the rustlers. They just toss them into the horizon, and all is good. Later that night, as they sit by the fire, Arlo and Nash compare scars. Arlo asks Butch how he got his scar, and Sam Elliott proves why he is has the best voice in the business. Talks about how he was like, "I was walking for 5 days and I saw a pond. And when I went in, I got attacked by 2 crocs. Ain't no way I wasn't at supper, except for one thing. I wasn't ready for dying that day. I bet one
Oh
croc
my
and a half
god.
tail whipped the other. And the last one, well, I drowned that croc in my own blood." And he goes, "You hit
What?
that was the coolest thing ever. Oh my, that was the coolest thing ever." And Arlo says, "You would have liked my papa. He wasn't scared of anything. I'm done being scared." And he says, "Who says I wasn't scared? You can't get rid
Love
of
that.
fear.
Love
you
it.
can get through it.
Yeah.
You can find a way. You can find out what you're made of." And that's pretty cool. Maybe his dad should have bought into that mentality, been like, "Hey man, we'll take this baby steps. Maybe I won't march you out into a thunderstorm and die right in front of you, thus traumatizing you for the rest of your life." The first snow of the year drops, and Arlo remembers he has to get home. And Butch is like, a deal's a deal. At first light, we'll ride. The next morning, Arlo uses his tail as a whip to help keep the herd in line as they drive them across the land. And he spots the tip of Clawtooth Mountain. He thanks the Rexes for looking out for him, and Butch tells him he's going to be all right. He says, "You're one tough kid." They run along the side of the riverbank, rousing a flock of birds as they head toward the peak of the mountain. It's a beautifully rendered scene. I like this moment. Arlo uses the strength in his mighty neck to toss Spot up above the clouds, and together they watch the sunset beyond the mountain's peaks.
Dude, gorgeous.
Cool moment.
So damn cool. I love this. This feels like one of those moments you can always identify in these Pixar movies. Like, what moment was like on one of the original storyboards for this? That they're like, I don't know the plot yet, but we got to get there. And this kind of felt like one of them. And I don't remember exactly where it is, but I know it's coming up. But this shot where it gets kind of scary and it's dark and you see what looks to be like shark fins above them. I love it. Like that was like freaking gorgeous, beautiful, scary. I didn't know what was going on, and the payoff was great. They really did a good job with it, and that was special shit.
Absolutely.
Were the pterodactyls flying upside down for that, or is that their beak? Because it looked like the fin on their head.
Yeah, I had the same vibe.
thicker.
Yeah, I think they were upside down. I think they were
Fucking crazy motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You know?
They fly upside down?
No.
Yeah, Joey, but let me tell you right now, this movie weak on science. Because here's the thing about pterodactyls: a lot of you
science with
Kevin
couldn't fly in the rain. They get a little wet, done. That's why birds have feathers, Joey. That's why birds have feathers. Keeps them dry.
together.
So it's like this whole end scene. The whole premise of these pterodactyls being like, we like flying in storms makes no sense.
Also, did pterodactyls and T-Rexes not exist during the same time?
Nick, ducks fly together.
Dogs do fly together.
Ducks, not dogs.
I was like, I don't know what Andy's going for here, but I'm just going to say yes and.
Mighty ducks.
Mighty ducks?
Oh, quack, quack.
Dogs do fly together. You're right.
It's like, I don't know what he's talking about, guys. You guys are me out here.
I do appreciate you just going along for the ride, though.
Go with it, man. You know me. I'm trying to keep the energy going forward. Back to the plot. As they run, Arlo howls and Spot joins in, but soon another voice howls back, a human standing off over the horizon, which slowly starts walking for him. And then a look of worry comes over Arlo's face because he realizes the implications of this, and he gently picks Spot up and places him on his back and tells him, "We need to get home." Rain starts to fall, and lightning once again strikes across the cloudy sky, and to Tim's point, the shark-like tails cut through the cloud coverage above and begin to circle. Sound, some start to laughing, and then more laughter joins in, and the pterodactyls can be heard. They pounce. One grabs Spot, and Arlo tries to save him, but he can't, and he's forced over the cliff and gets tangled in some vines below as Spot howls in the distance as he's being carried away. And then, unfortunately, a rock hits Arlo in the head and knocks him out. And as he wakes up, he realizes he sees his father, who has come to save him. And the two walk together on a muddy road. But when Arlo looks down, he realizes he is making tracks, but his father isn't. Actually, before that, he pleads with his father to stop. He's like, I have to go back. When he looks down, he sees that he's making tracks, but his father isn't. And he realizes his father isn't really there. He says, I'm scared, but Spot needs me. I blamed him for what happened to you, but it wasn't his fault. So I got to go help him because I love him. And his father turns around and says, I knew you had it in you. You are me and more. Now go take care of that critter.
We've never seen anything like this before. Never. Not once. Definitely not in a movie called The Lion King from 1994. But just say it. Just say it.
Stop with your Lion King conspiracies. Nobody's buying into it here, Tim.
You're right.
Nobody's buying into it.
Nobody's
Tim's
seen
Lion King conspiracy, more like Tim, King of Lies. You know what I mean?
Damn.
Is that another?
Damn.
Yet another of Tim's conspiracies? Sorry, Kevin, you nailed it. Hey, cut that part out. Cut that part out of yours. Cut it out.
I thought Kevin was gonna say King of Lion, and that would have worked out.
Oh, that would be good.
Oh
too.
Yeah, that would have been better. Thanks, Andy.
At the end.
Yeah, it was close enough.
Tim Spiracies, far number 3. What did Kevin say? Kevin, King of the Jungle? No,
King of Lies.
King of Lies.
King of Lies. And then Tim the Lion King is number 1. That's how we're gonna rank those jokes today. Let us know how you would rank those jokes in the comments below.
On Rank This Joke, our newest podcast in a
Andy, where's the
podcast.
theme song?
Rank this joke. I got a little joke.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rank this joke.
You're gonna rank it.
I got a little joke.
It's a little joke.
Rank. That
Arlo wakes
stinks.
up and is, of course, still wrapped in the vines. He bursts out and runs up the mountain, howling as he goes. Finally, Spot howls back. He's hiding he's hiding from the pterodactyls in a hollowed out tree, but he won't last long because they're trying to break in and they're playing with him. Arlo rushes in and starts headbutting, but it's not enough to get the job done. And he looks over. We see the water start to rise as Thunderclap starts to crack that little tree like a nut. Arlo whips a tree with his tail branch, or excuse me, whips a tree with his tail, causing it to fall over on Downpour and Cold Front, and then roars a mighty roar at Thunderclap, giving Spot the time he needs to bite
Yeah,
through
he does,
Thunderclap.
man. Let's
Yeah,
go.
boy. And of course, once he realizes he's got a giant hole in his wing, he's like, I'm not winning this fight. So he tries to fly off, and Arlo grabs a branch and just hurls it at him.
Not enough
Probably
for
knocking him
Arlo.
unconscious and killing him in
Yeah.
the ensuing water storm that's about to happen.
I mean, a pterodactyl, like, it's not going to survive if they go in water, right? Like, there's no, the motion is not good for, like, floating. So all four of those pterodactyls probably drown to death, right?
probably.
Yeah.
Director confirms. Director
That was
confirms.
it.
They're all alive. They all survived,
Ah,
and the main
fuck.
one in particular stopped fucking with little dinosaurs after that.
Be
He's like, I
brave.
learned my lesson.
Mhm.
Well, no.
Be brave,
Where did he
directors.
confirm that?
Somewhere on Wikipedia.
The king of lies is back.
Oh my god. No, it's a timber. He lies a lot. Hey,
Right.
it's Tim. He lies a lot.
He's gonna lie.
Oh, it's still going.
Hey, it's Tim. He's gonna lie. When the mountain. Okay.
He's gonna lie. Tim is gonna lie.
Tim hates this. So I can't even see his face.
I love it. I really love
He
it.
hates it. All right. Man. Let us know your Tim Lion King song, please. Take a couple minutes and just make that bad boy for us for next week.
According to Peter Son, Thunderclap survives and continues to hunt critters, but thinks twice about attacking young dinos and their friends after being defeated by Arlo and Spot.
Nah, that's bullshit. You're fucking J.K. Rowling this and adding shit on. Not the whole like being super like anti-trans and stuff, but
Mhm.
like you can't just like
That would be
add
a
on.
twist.
You can't just add on what's happening. You can't just be like, now they think twice, but guess what? They hate. Now they start fights with the Raptors. Now the Rustlers. No, quit adding on lore. We don't care about.
You're
this
adding
anymore.
lore to the lore they added. The only thing he was adding is
Right.
that they didn't die.
I feel like you can only add
paraphrasing.
lore like that when you have those like weird at the end of the movies where you like see what happens to all the characters
Epilogue.
after. with
I
the freeze
love
frame.
that they don't give a fuck about this movie so much. They were like, you know what? Every other Pixar movie has more of an epilogue in the credits. That this movie is like, fuck it. No one gives a fuck.
Before
Let's just show them our grass. You know?
Beautiful.
Dude. Look at how great these pine needles are rendered. Before Arlo can swim to his friend, the same muddy wave that took his father sweeps in to carry Spot away. But this time, Arlo doesn't hesitate. He leaps in to save.
Same muddy wave it took his
Actually,
father.
Hey, Kevin, in my brain, the wave just keeps going around.
Yeah,
It's like, we'll be
yeah,
back
yeah.
in
It's
an hour.
big old circle. Big old
Keeps going.
circle.
See you next week, Arlo. Oh man, this thing knows no fucking limits.
Sorry about your dad.
We're coming back for your mom. Bring her in. Let's see. He leaps in to save his friend, and the two are quickly overtaken as they rush toward the falls. Arlo kicks furiously to reach Spot before they go over, plummeting into the water below. Arlo carries Spot to the shore.
Seems pretty derivative. Just saying.
I mean, okay, Tim, if they stole that from anything, they stole it from Predator. Okay,
Homeward
we can all
Bound,
agree.
Homeward Bound.
They stole it from Predator.
Homeward Bound also so tragic.
Which one was Marley and Me? There's a dog dying.
No,
in
they
that
all
one?
survived, Joey. Right?
I know, but it's so sad because like Shadow climbs really slow after all the other animals.
But they
and you think he's not gonna look at
survive.
what he
It's-
does.
Golden Retriever.
Yeah,
have-
He's been through
they
some
have
shit,
hip-hop.
and he doesn't. He's lost some years after that adventure, you know.
He's
And
fine.
And then they get
I'm
lost
sure
in San Francisco, and it's a whole thing.
Whole thing.
Oh, they climb. Let's see. Oh, this is a great moment here. Arlo carries Spot to the shoreline, but little dude is unconscious, so he does the same thing he did to the fireflies and kind of gently blows on him a little bit to bring him back to life. I like that.
It's not how it
they-
works, though.
I mean, it's mouth to mouth.
It-
Mouth to mouth.
I don't even
Resuscitation.
All right, Nick.
You don't know what
nothing
sort of
else.
healing properties Brontosaurus has had, Kevin.
Yeah, you don't
He
get
blows
it. Kevin.
hard,
None.
dude. We saw him blow out all the little rodents.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna go do more research
this.
about
You know what? You know what?
Thunderclap.
You know what other movie blew? The Return of Jafar.
Nailed it, Nick. Nailed it. You
Damn.
brought it back.
Oh man, I can't miss today. I can't miss.
Mhm.
Cut that one out.
Impossible.
Cut that one out. Get that. Use the edit tool and cut that one out. Arlo carries. So let's see. They climb down the mountain. Arlo finally sees his home, but before they can take another step, another howl breaks through the air. Arlo and Spot turn to see a family of humans making their way down the hillside toward them. At first, they sniff each other, very apprehensive, and Spot is apprehensive, but he's accepted by the mother, and soon the whole family takes him in. Arlo
I was really
realizes that-
hoping the family like accepted Spot as
Their
like
dog.
a gift of food.
and
And be like, oh, thank you, dinosaur. And they just start tearing him up right there. No!
Yeah.
Arlo realizes that this is where Spot belongs. So when Spot jumps back on Arlo's back, he pushes him back down, which reminds me, like we talked about before, when John Lithgow had to make Harry go back into the forest, and it made me cry. Arlo
sad.
pushes Spot toward the humans and draws a circle around all of them, showing that this is his new family. And it's very good. That's a very good moment. And Spot finally understands. He rushes to give Arlo a hug, and the big green dinosaur cries. As Spot walks away with his new family, he stops momentarily to look back at his friend and howls. And Arlo howls back. Mama is picking up the last of the corn, and man, she looks like she's on her last.
Barely.
fucking leg.
She's fucking barely. She can't even stand up, this poor woman.
I mean, to the point where
Stop
she-
grabbing so much. Just take less. Or you know what?
What the
Throw
fuck
down
else
a
you have to
tarp,
do? You
put
know?
some strings on it,
Yeah.
throw it on top there, then pull the strings. Then
Like
pull the
Kevin.
strings.
What else do these dinosaurs have to do all day? They don't have. To
Well, they
eat.
got all this dirt in their nose from shoving their face in the ground.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Hard to breathe. Yeah.
Let's see. Mama is picking up the last of the corn as Arlo approaches, and at first she thinks it's Henry, but is overjoyed when she realizes it's a much smaller dinosaur, and it's her son finally coming home. They head to the food store, and Arlo finally makes his mark, and that is it. The
Now I
end.
gotta ask, why is this movie called The Good Dinosaur?
I have
There's
Like,
no
that
nothing
just
good about
seems
him, right?
So
Well,
uninspired
they were
in
gonna,
any
they were
single
gonna
way.
call it the Dinosaur King, Tim, but they didn't want to draw too many parallels between your favorite
Fuck.
movie.
You're so right. Andy, hit me with a little bit of that haiku and review, please.
7 syllables in the middle. You need 5 for the first and last line. If you're not poetic, no need to fret it. Haikus don't need to rhyme. Haiku in review.
Is it you?
Haiku in review.
It's a haiku.
You can go to patreon.com/kindafunny to write your review in haiku form, just like the legend Matt Batson has done. The Good Dinosaur. More like the Bad Dinosaur.
Wow.
I'll be here all week.
Okay, we didn't try on that one, did we, Matt? Tried a lot harder on my Doritos commercials.
Joe Merton writes in, says, it's a damn Western. This film's a goddamn Western, but with dinosaurs. Arlo faces fear. Debbie, you're better than this. Is unexpected. That is true. That
was
is
funny.
true.
That was good.
Zayd Wilson says, The Land Before Time sprinted. So this movie could just kind of limp.
Mm.
Lee Polero says, the scenery, wow, at times looked completely real. Story was okay. Grant Burton. Grant Burton.
Grant Burton.
The Good Dinosaur. It's not The Land Before Time. It's not bad. Just fine. And then, of course, Miscellaneous has to write in the plot in haiku. Meet Dinosaur Dad. 3 kids he and Mrs. had. Arlo, do real bad. Dad died. Arlo cried. Got lost, but food. Spot supplied. He's fried. Needs a guide. Walk all night and day, making friends along the way. Scared the birds away. Spot greets fam with bark. When he sees them, there's a spark. Arlo made
His mark.
his
Mark.
Wow.
Miscellaneous. Woo!
Beautiful.
Always bringing the fire, always bringing the fire. Before we do Bagu Bagu, I want to deliver to you the Pixar theory brought to you by the nanobiologist. Of course, the Pixar theory is a recurring theory that every single Pixar movie is connected in some way. Here's the big deep dive red string everywhere theory for where the Good Dinosaur fits into the big picture. Little editorializing here, as made famous by nanobiologist in Kind of Funny Games Daily, but he starts like this. The only good part about this movie, in my opinion, is its question of what happens if the meteor misses Earth. So what does it lead to? A different path for evolution, with a history of these dinosaurs that's pretty much parallels what we see through WALL-E. The most intelligent creatures are dying off because of the changes in the Earth and through scarcity of resources. The intelligent dinosaurs are very scarce, and the humans are getting more intelligent, which doesn't line up by millions of years in our history. Like the end of the movie shows, humans as hunters using tools. But at the end of the day, it sets sets up vaguely why Earth A113, which I didn't realize that was the name of this universe, pretty cool, is so different from our Earth. They had a different evolutionary path for all creatures and the planet itself because the asteroid missed. So, cool.
Cool beans. Cool
Ragu
beans.
bagu, baby.
Ragu. Bagu. What's going on, everyone? I'm Nick Scarpino, and this is Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys for the podcast for Pixar and Review. Right now on the list, we got 17 of these bad boys to get through, so we're just going to go fast. Number 1, Lotsa. Number 2, Prospect. Number 3, Newswater and Randall. Number 4, Hopper. Number 5, Hercule Visconti. Number 6, Syndrome from Incredibles. Number 7, Muntz and the Dogs. 8 is Ego and Skinner. 9 is Darla and the Barracuda. 10 is Woody and Sid. 11 is Gabby. 12 is Hardscrabble and the Roars. 13 is Otto from Wall-E. 14 is Mordieu and the Witch. 15 is Chicken Hubris from Cars. Axelrod and Lemons from Cars 2 are number 16. And 17 is Joy in San Francisco from Inside Out with an asterisk. Where, I mean, is, I guess, the
Rustlers
and the Rustlers?
Or, yeah.
Mostly
pterodactyls,
it's
right?
fear. Like fear
The
is the bad
river.
guy.
I know the water.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, it's just like bottom of the
know,
barrel stuff, right?
I'll tell you this: if you were being hunted year round by a massive muddy water wave, that would be pretty terrifying. So that's going to be the bad guy in this. Where do
It
you wanna put
follows.
It follows. Great movie.
I feel like this is low mid tier because the thing about Pixar movies, what I'm learning is villains not necessarily their strong suit or even their thing at all. Sometimes they just don't fucking care.
Yeah.
I would probably put this in between Sid and Gabby.
I think this goes even lower. I would put this last under. Was the last one San Francisco?
Joy in San Francisco.
Yeah, because it's like, I guess nah, because it's just
Just above Joy in San Francisco again.
Axelrod and the
Axelrod.
Lemons from Cars 2.
I would put this above them.
Okay.
Because above them is
Above
Chick
Mordieu.
and Hubris from Cars 2.
So the muddy water and fear would be at number 16.
And the pterodactyls.
pterodactyls.
The pterodactyl. Yeah, Steve's on, man.
Yeah.
He was entertaining when he was on screen. Not enough of them, but still.
I would still probably put these under more due, wherever I can't remember exactly. I think
Mordieu.
that's the next one up.
What do you got more do, Nick?
Mordieu's at 14.
In between.
In between. So it goes 13 Otto, 14 Mordieu, 15 Chicken Hubris, 16 Axelrod
Yeah.
and the Lemons.
I'll buy it.
I would put it between more due and Chicken
All right,
Hubris.
I'll allow it, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to go right at 15 as soon as I finish moving it. Copy and then cut. There you go. All right, cool.
Cool. And now it is
Tasty.
time to rank the Pixar movies. Currently, number 1, we have Up. Number 2, Monsters, Inc. Number 3, Finding Nemo. Number 4, The Incredibles. Number 5, Wall-E. Number 6, Toy Story 3. Number 7, Inside Out. Number 8, Toy Story 2. Number 9, Toy Story 4. Number 10, Toy Story 1. Number 11, Luca. 12, Rat Tat Tui. Number 13, Monsters University. 14, Cars. 15, A Bug's Life. 16, Brave. 17, Cars 2. Who would like to start?
if I may.
You may, Kevin.
Kevin will. do
I
the thing.
honestly think this movie should go at the bottom. I think that Cars 2 is not a good movie either, but like a bit more entertaining, and like the fact that like the storyline kind of just goes wild. It is funner to watch than this. This is a prettier movie, easily. But even with that, it still isn't a clear win because the dinosaurs are so fucking ugly looking. So many of the dinosaurs look ugly. I never want to watch this movie again. And I think that's Cars 2 is right there where like I don't think I'll ever watch it again. I'm not as adamantly against watching it again as I am this movie.
I would go under A Bug's Life, above Brave.
Yeah, that's where I would go with it too.
Same. I would go there as well.
Above Brave.
I think they are equal in quality, but I found Brave to mostly be a bit more uninteresting than this movie was. I was still entertained by this movie for most of it. I didn't really find this movie boring, and I felt that way for a decent amount of Brave. And so, yeah, I think they are. I think this is a better movie than Cars 2 for sure, but it gets down to the point of Brave may be a better written movie with better pacing, and just all the things that make a movie a good movie. But I was just more entertained by The Good Dinosaur.
I would put this above Cars 2, but below Brave. I think Brave, exactly kind of what Andy said, but I think it's just better. I think Brave had like a more cohesive storyline, even though it's still not very strong. I think it had more, I liked all the different tribes and think it had some more funnier moments than this one did. And I think it's just like, I think the world of that was a little bit more well-rounded than this.
So there you have it. Because me, Nick, and Andy all put it at number 16. That's exactly where it lies. So number 15, Bugs Life. 16 is now The Good Dinosaur. 17, Brave. And then 18, Cars 2. We only have a couple movies left here in this Pixar in Review universe. Pretty exciting stuff. We'll return in just a few days with Finding Dory.
Excited.
Another Pixar sequel. Have you seen it?
I have.
I have not.
I'm looking forward to watching it.
I have not.
I don't think I've seen it.
Exciting times ahead. But until then, Andy, give me something.
Tim is lying. Tim is gonna lie. Tim is lying. Tim is gonna lie. Tim is lying. Who's gonna lie? Tim is lying. When the Timmy comes over the mountains.